Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Inspire with Keri, where business owners and leaders share their inspiring and encouraging stories. For tonight, we have Terese Hopkins, the owner of Kreative Cutz and Designs. And I'm so excited to interview her about her company and more about her story. So without further ado, Miss Terese Hopkins. So,
hi.
Hello. So, Miss Terese, I wanted to ask you, your company, Kreative Cutz and Designs, what exactly do you do?
What I do is I cut. It started off being just cutting wood and block letters, like you see the letters in Michael's or Hobby Lobby,
right?
Just different with the alphabet letters. So it started off being that, but then it went into cutting images, state cutouts, logos, just anything that could be cut out, basically made out of wood, is what I'm doing.
Awesome. And when did you start this company?
It started in 2020, once COVID, when we was in, after COVID hit,
right,
in quarantine. So it started at the end of 2020 is when it started. It didn't start as being a business.
Okay.
It was just a start to help Brittany.
Okay. Your daughter.
Out in her business, yeah. And then it grew into what it is now.
Awesome. And so I'm curious because I know that you've worked in finances and then you used to be a hairdresser. I assume you kind of alluded to it with COVID and stuff, but what made you make this transition to this career? Because it is quite different than hairstyling and
it is.
finances. So why did you start with this? What kind of jump started that?
And I still do finances.
Yes, you do. I should clarify.
I still do that. I don't do hair anymore.
Right.
But starting into the cutting wood, doing creative wood cuts, like I said, it started off helping Brittany with her business.
Right.
And it kind of grew from there. And then I figured out, I really like doing this because I really like making things with my hands. And when you make something and somebody be like, oh my God, I like it. This looks so good.
Yeah.
It just gives you a different feel about it. And so it just I was like, okay, I really like doing this. And being able to see an image and then creating it from wood to bring it to life was just a whole different thing. So I enjoyed doing that. So, but it was just something I love, and I still love doing it. So when I figured out I can do this, when I was doing it, like I get up in the morning and I was working on it, and then I look and be like, it's midnight and I'm still doing this. But I love doing it. It wasn't like it was a job or it was hectic. It was like, I really like doing this. So,
did that kind of surprise you that you did enjoy doing it? Because I'm curious if you've ever kind of dabbled in it before, just for fun, just making stuff, or like, did that kind of surprise you? Like, I really like that. Or were you already kind of doing stuff like that a little bit?
Well, what I liked doing was DIY stuff. Like I like painting walls and fixing up things. I like doing that type of things. But actually cutting wood, I never thought I would do that. And when I first tried it, it was actually an epic fail. We bought this machine and we was like, let's see if we can cut this to make this happen. And stuff was flying everywhere, blades jumping out everywhere. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing. So the machine actually sat for about 6 months. Then it was like, okay, let's try this again. And I just kind of picked it up and it was like, okay, we got it. So it just went from there.
I like how you said you stopped for 6 months and you got back into it, because I think with so many people, it's easy to kind of start something. You would get discouraged if it was complete disaster, and it would make you think, okay, I'm not going to ever do that again. What made you kind of, because I think it would be great for our audience to hear this if they're going through something where it's like, I think this is going to be great. I'm excited. And then it kind of is like, womp womp. Like, what did you tell the audience to kind of encourage them to get back and try it again and not just give up?
For me, it was a challenge. It was like, I can do this. This is not going to defeat me. I don't pay my money for this machine. We're going to use this machine.
Right.
At some point, and I'm not a stickler of taking things back. I will if I have to, but me returning things is just probably not going to happen. But it was like, okay, let's give this another try. And so I just didn't give up. And it was a challenge. I love a challenge.
Yeah.
Like, let's get this done, and it worked. And then it wasn't that somebody was teaching me. I actually just watched like a YouTube video, and it was like, okay, let's do this. So the things that I do now, I kind of taught myself how to do it. I didn't go to a class. I haven't been to a class or workshops or anything like that. It's kind of like I can see it being done, and it's like, okay, let me figure out how to do this. Yeah.
I love that, because I think there's something to be said about if you have something you're passionate about, of kind of you taking what you've got already instead of saying, I'll wait till this class happens or that class happens, and just saying, you know what, I'm going to figure out how to do this myself. And it's great that we do live, it's not the 80s or 90s anymore. You can go right on YouTube and search how to do stuff. And I mean, use the resources you have, I say. I have a question, because I know you did hairstyling and then you used to do DIY. Like, is there anything that you kind of learned doing that you think benefits what you do now with the woodcutting business?
Well, with finances, what I do now, I think it's problem solving, because for me, finances, what I like about finances is not counting numbers. Okay. It's the problem solving that I enjoy about solving a problem. Let's figure this out. So that's what I brought over into the woodcutting. It's like somebody gives me an image or give me something and be like, oh, can we do this? Be like, okay, let's figure this out. I'm a problem solver. So I took that part from the financing of it. Just solving problems.
Yeah. I have a question. What is your favorite thing that you've ever designed that you're just like, I love it. This is the one I'm most proud of. Like, what's just I'll separate this into two questions. What is your favorite thing to make? And then what's the thing that you've made that you're the most proud of?
The favorite thing to make now are the business logos. Those are my favorite things to make. The thing that I made that I absolutely love was actually the first logo I did. I didn't paint it or design it. It was just a wood cutout. And I had this young lady contact me, and she was like, oh, I want my business name done. And she was like, you can do it however you want to do it. Yeah. So I saw her logo, and I was like, I absolutely love her logo. Yeah. It was just fire. It was like, her name is Nicole, and it was all nicked up. It's her logo, and I still to this day love her logo. And it was like, if I can just keep this for myself, I would. But it was no purpose for me keeping it. But I don't know why. It was just something about her logo that just kind of stuck with me. So hers so far is my favorite that I've done.
What's the most challenging thing about what you do, about the business?
The most challenging thing probably would be, I don't know. It's not that it's not challenging.
No, yeah.
But I guess the different tools that you have to use. Like, somebody may ask me to do something that's really, really big, and it's kind of like, okay, how am I going to do this? Because I don't work out of a big warehouse or have all these machines that can, cut all these things out for me. I'm kind of doing them all by hand. But I don't know if I had, I would say the biggest challenge for me is when somebody gives me an image that's not, they draw it. For instance, they just sketch it. Be like, oh, let me sketch this out and can you make this for me? I'm not an artist. So, okay, y'all, it may look like I'm an artist, but I am not. But those are challenging because I have to figure out, okay, how I'm going to take this image they drew, put it into this computer to, design it or whatever. So that's challenging. It's worked so far. And also because I have Jasmine, my daughter,
And that's
who is an artist.
your oldest daughter.
Yes,
Just for the audience.
who is an artist. So sometimes I can be like, hey, can you draw this for me so I can, kind of put it in the format that I need it to be in. But a hand sketch is probably the most challenging thing. But we've got them all done so far. So I haven't had a lot of them, but the ones that I've done, they've come out pretty good.
I'm curious because you started your business in 2020, and from what I see, it seems to already be very, very successful and like exploded. What do you credit that success to?
I credit that success to God.
Yeah.
It is God. Pastor prayed, he spoke a word over the business because when I first started out, I didn't do advertising. At first I wasn't even on like Instagram and Facebook that much with it.
Right.
But a lot of it came from like when people would ask Brittany, where did you get your letters from?
Yeah.
And then at first she wouldn't say. She wanted me to be her, her hidden gem.
Like her ghost partner or something?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it's like, no, if this is going to be a business, I got to expect that.
That's right.
So it started off getting referrals from her followers.
Okay.
And then they would refer people and they would come back, and it just kind of grew from there. So I did eventually do like small ads on Etsy and post more on Instagram and Facebook. But I still don't do a whole lot of heavy advertising at all.
Right. Man, I
so
guess
a lot of business come from, and I have a lot of repeat customers because most of my customers are resin artists, and so they're constantly, buying letters or shapes or whatever for their own business, but they, buying it, using me to buy the wood or whatever. So to get the wood cut out. So. Yeah. But yeah, it's grown a lot, but all credit goes to God for that, because it's not like I'm known for wood cutting for like 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that is interesting, because that goes to my next question, because I think, it's interesting. I think when you're in your 20s, you could do like a whole bunch of stuff and, try stuff, and people are like, okay, that's cool, because that's what your 20s are for. And I feel like once you get in your 30s, people kind of expect like, okay, like this is what you do and you need to kind of stick with it. If you kind of veer off, people are like, okay, that's interesting. Did you get anything like that? Like, were any people like skeptical, like, why are you doing this?
I had people that were surprised. A lot of people were surprised. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you made that?
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from? Like, because they only know me for, finances or doing hair.
Right.
And, but I didn't get a lot of kickback like, you shouldn't be doing this kind of thing. Nothing like that. Yeah. But it was a little surprising for some people. And then for my family, maybe not so much, because it's kind of like the background of my family or what they do, painters and builders and that kind of thing. But I don't think people expected me to do what I do now. Yeah. So, but it's not a negative pushback at all. But a lot of people were surprised that I can actually do it. Be like, oh, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised. Because I knew that you did DIYs stuff. So, but it's kind of like, oh, wow. And then what I love is you're not just like okay in it. You're really, really good in it. Because I feel like sometimes when people try stuff, it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're good. But you're like, you're more than good. You're like really excellent in it. Like, and you're really excellent doing hair too. So, that's a blessing, and finances. You really excel at the stuff you do. What's kind of your target, I guess, client? You typically tend to do pieces for homes, or if you tend to do pieces for organizations or businesses, like is it more personal business? Like who are the people who order from you the most, I should say?
The people that order from me the most are resin artists. People like what Brittany does, the keys, and you have other ladies that make well, they all kind of do different things. They make clocks and
Yeah.
keys and letters and um, whatever images or whatever. But they probably 95% of my customers are resin artists. And then I've had charities like schools and nonprofit organizations and things like that that have done things for whatever groups they may have. It's not a whole lot, but mostly is resin artists. Is the target artist, target audience
Yeah.
that I have.
Why should people go to you instead of like a Hobby Lobby or something? Like, what separates you from other businesses that have like the wooden letters or the wooden pieces? Why should they go to you?
The thing that separates is because when you go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's, they have limited supply. So you may go and you looking for a S and a T,
Right.
and you need 5 of each, and they only have
Yep.
2 in the store.
Yes.
So you're limited to only getting what they have, or you got to store hop to try to find all these places.
Yes.
I custom make all my pieces. So when you order, you can order 5 letters, you can order 50 letters.
Yeah.
It's no limit to how many you can get, because it's not going to run out of stock.
Right.
So because I'm all custom made, so I think that's what separates me from them having to go to stores, or even having to, if you want a special image or something, you can't just walk into Michael's or Hobby Lobby or any store and be like, okay, can you make this cut for me, and can you write this on
Yeah.
it? You know, something like that. So you can't do that. But with me, you can come and say, hey, I need a heart, and can you write this lane? Can you engrave these names on it, or all this kind of thing. So.
Well, I'll say, I'm sorry.
I know, I was just saying that's what sets it apart.
I'll say I have ordered from you, and I mean, your pieces really are really excellent. They're high quality, and you send a nice handwritten note, and so I'm actually going to say I recommend to anyone if you need anything, and I think what I love is, you're great for businesses that if you do the artistry and you need the actual wood pieces, that's great. But also, even for personal, like I've used your stuff for like Christmas decor. So you do it all. And what I like is my home's neutral. So I kind of like just that wooden piece without maybe the paint and all that. So I think if you're someone who kind of has a neutral home, you will love her pieces. And she can really, really make it all. I do want to just kind of ended on a really positive note. What would you say to people? You kind of already give us some encouraging words, like when you were saying how for the 6 months, you bounced back. But what would you say to people who want to do a career switch and maybe they're feeling discouraged or apprehensive? What advice do you have for them?
I would say don't be afraid to step out, because when you get to a certain point in your life, you kind of want to do something different.
Yeah.
Like I want to do something different. Like, even though I still do finances, it's kind of like, oh, do I still want to do this?
Yeah.
But I would say don't be afraid to step out, because it's the thing. Sometimes there's things that you actually just love to do, and that's kind of like your happy place.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're at peace with it. You don't
Right.
want to be wrestling with and doing things that you really don't love, and you, oh my God, I just hate having to go do this. But I'll be like, just step out on faith and don't be scared to do it.
I agree. I think that's such a great feeling to wake up in the morning and not dread what you're about to do. Like,
Yes.
no one wants to have to do that. And then also and you can list as many as you have. What are some secrets to success that you have for the audience for just how to have a successful business? Because you're also really, you're really well versed in finances too. So you can even give some of that advice, if you want to as well. So what advice do you have for the business owners for business success?
Well, I would say have a plan. Set goals, have plans to set out. And then sometimes you have to pace yourself, because I got into it and it's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. Yeah. And then that kind of gets you're all over the place. And it's kind of like, pace yourself. Let's master this one thing and then let's move to the next thing. You also want to have, we're talking about finances, still you got to have a plan. You got to be organized. A lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, actually don't know much about, the business side of what they do, but you still have to have a basic knowledge of it. Like, you got to know what you got coming in, what you have going out. You got to have some sense, even though you may not take care of your taxes and different things like that. I believe everyone needs to have a basic sense of what they need to keep track of. And sitting down and at the end of the day or at the end of the week and writing things down, like, okay, this is what I had coming in, this is what I had going out, this is what I need to do, let me set a budget so I can actually see my money working, because sometimes we get into it in the beginning and a lot of times what you're making is going right back out. So it's like, what am I doing this for? Because I'm not really making any money.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't set limits, especially like expenses. We don't set a limit and we just buy. So I read this book. It's called Profit First. It's a really great book, and it kind of teaches you a different way of looking at your finances. It's kind of like you setting it up so you can make your profits where you can see it. You're setting a limit. If I have 20% of my income coming in or revenue coming in for expenses, that's all I can spend. I can't go outside of that. So you have to make it work. It works. It actually does work. But just being mindful of what you have coming in and what you have going out is basically a good thing to know in your business.
Very, very well. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me about your business and sharing your tidbits of wisdom, because I'm listening to the advice you're giving, and it's a great reminder, just those principles to have for your business. And I'm going to make sure we have all of your information, like your website, business name, and all of that at the end, so people can look you up. I suggest you all follow her on like Instagram. She has really cool reels, and I think what you do, what I love is, I think it's nice to see women in particular do kind of something that seems so masculine with like the wood and claying wood and all that. I think that's so cool. I want my daughter to see images of women doing things that maybe we think stereotypically just men are supposed to do, and I love that. And I think that's super, super cool. I love how you glorify God in what you do, and just your spiritual walk and all of that. And I think that will really, really inspire people. So thank you so much, Miss Terese Hopkins.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you all so much for watching this episode of Inspire with Keri. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on our show, if you could think of someone that you think would be a great guest on the show, please email me at my email. You'll see that at the ending credits, or you can message me on social media. You'll see all of that at the end of the episode. And thank you again so much for watching. Bye.